Hey, what's going on YouTube? I hope everyone has been doing well. My name is Jamal. Welcome back to my channel. And today you're joining me on a little bit of a rainy day outside. All the trails are closed. So I figured today we'd do some servicing and maintenance on a dropper post that I recently got on a bike that I purchased secondhand. I purchased a bike from Bicycle Blue Book and it was a really good deal, but what I noticed was the dropper post wasn't really working on it. And what I mean by that is, if I can show you guys, this is a Bike Yoke Revive, 160 millimeters of travel, 31.6 diameter. And actually, when I went to go get on the bike, the dropper post just went down on its own. Like, I shouldn't be able to do that. It's just pushing it on its own. And it would just come right back up as soon as I released the lever and pushed it down. So I can show you guys here at the bottom. This is the release for the dropper post. So obviously when that is pulled, the dropper post will come all the way up, right? And it should close, right? So close it right there. Here, I'll push it down right here. So we'll close it, right? Let go of the release. So it should stay, right? But as you can see there, it just extends on its own. So right now it's just opening and closing on its own. And so I looked up the kind of troubleshooting on Bike Yoke's website, and they say if it does that, your dropper post needs a complete rebuild, basically. So there's a service kit for this and there's a rebuild kit for this. The service kit you do about every 100 hours, which is just this service kit here. Replaces some pins in the dropper and a few little seals, like for instance the one up top. You actually don't even have to let the air out of the dropper to do that service, but we're going to be doing that service. But in addition to that as well, we're doing a full rebuild, replacing every single O-ring that's in this dropper post. So I've never done anything like this before. I've never rebuilt a dropper post, so this is going to be new for me. So it's going to be a little bit of a learning experience for me as well. But really the only videos that I saw on YouTube for this were from the company's website or the company's YouTube channel, which is like kind of an older video that's, you know, it doesn't go over really in depth of replacing all the different O-rings. It just kind of shows you how to disassemble it and reassemble it. And so I wanted to kind of add mine into the mix here to help anyone out that might be doing this as well. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to take the camera off the tripod real quick and kind of show you guys some of the tools that I anticipate that I might need based on the videos that I've seen and the instructions that I've seen online. So let me show you guys real quick what we got. All right, so some things that I got, obviously we have the dropper post here. We've got the service kit, we have the rebuild kit. I went ahead and bought this valve adapter here just to help out with pumping it back up. Because with the Bike Yoke Revive, there's a little bit of like a reset valve in there. So this works as a way to kind of bleed off extra air. It's got a little reset valve in there, a feature that I haven't seen on any other dropper post. So I don't know if some of them have it or not, but that was kind of new to me. So I got the valve adapter for that in addition to the service kit and the rebuild kit. I also got some more oil. This is Bike Yoke specific oil for the dropper post. Whenever we do the complete rebuild on it, we have to drain the old oil out and put new oil in. So we're going to be doing that. I got an O-ring plier there from Harbor Freight Tools. Probably not the best pliers, but hopefully I can make it work. I've got a normal pair of needle nose pliers. I have a plastic hammer here just to hammer out the valve. I've got some various picks that I anticipate I might need. I got a 4mm Allen wrench, not sure if I need that. Got some small wrenches here. I believe you need like kind of a pretty thin 8mm. The set I have here that was in my tool set didn't come in metric, so I'm hoping I can make these standard ones work. I know, tear me apart in the comments, I'm using standard instead of metric, but that's what I have. Obviously we have a shock pump as well to kind of bleed some of the air out. I've got some lube as well. When we do the service, you do have to re-lube some of these parts, some of these pins in here, so we have the lube. And then I have a syringe here that I normally use to put like stands in my tubeless tires for tubeless tire sealant, but I haven't used it yet, so it's perfect to use on refilling the oil. I think the oil in the 160mm Bike Yoke calls for 41.5 milliliters of oil, so that should work out perfect for measuring that out. And then I just have some paper towels. So let's go ahead and get back on the tripod and attempt to take this thing apart. Oh, also forgot to mention I have a little cup here that I can drain the old oil that comes out of the dropper post into, so need that as well. So with that being said, we're going to start by taking off this little snap ring on the inside there. You can tell right there. So we're going to get my snap ring pliers and attempt to pull off this snap ring that's in here. So let's see. These are kind of crappy pliers, man. I should have bought better pliers. I didn't own a pair of snap ring pliers, so... Oh, that worked out pretty well, actually. There we go. All right, that's out. So now that that's out, I should be able to press this down. Yep, and that comes straight forward. So as you can see there, kind of pulled, just press this top part in and it kind of comes out there. So this is supposed to separate from this bottom part here. Yeah, so because the indentions there are very narrow, a lot of like a typical pair or typical wrench would be kind of too thick to fit on that. So that's why they recommend kind of some smaller open-ended wrenches if you have them. So I'm going to find a standard wrench that I have here that'll work to unscrew that shaft from kind of the lower assembly there. So let's see what I have. Or no, my 9/32 to undo this. All right, so I adjusted the camera angle here a little bit and I got my open-ended adjustable wrench here. So I'm gonna basically grab this part of the top end here where it's flat. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab my other 9/32 here and try to basically break that loose there. There we go. I believe there's thread locker on this from the factory, so it might be a little bit tight. Yeah, it's kind of gunked up. All right. So that will come off there. Perfect. Set that to the side. Pull this off. Clean up the threads a little bit. You can see it's kind of gunked up there. Clean up the threads. This little shaft comes out. So this is actually the actuation shaft right here. That's what makes the dropper move. That shaft actually pushes in. So we'll pull that out there. Also give that a wipe down. We can go ahead and pull this foam off in kind of this other rubber grommet there. I guess if you're servicing that, you would keep that, but I have a replacement for that in my rebuild kit, so I don't need that. This you can toss because it comes with new ones of those. So there's that. All right, now that that's off, we need to pull off the other snap ring that's in there. Let me clean this off a little bit and I can show you guys. So you can see we've got another snap ring in there that would need to come off. You guys can't really see it, but that's snap ring right there. Needs to come off as well. So this one is one that needs to be pulled apart, not one that needs to be pushed in like this other one that we have. So I need to change the configuration of my snap ring pliers real quick. So I've changed the configuration of my snap ring pliers now to kind of be spreaders rather than pushing together. So we're gonna get in there. Bike Yoke recommends putting something around this shaft, like a piece of tape, to kind of protect it while you're pulling off this snap ring, but I'm just gonna send it. Hope I don't regret this. Anyways, get in there. Boom, comes right off. This snap ring, also with the service kit, is replaced, so we can get rid of that too. So far there's these two pieces we can get rid of. And then because we're doing a rebuild, we can also get rid of this piece. So that's off of that now. Now we should be able to slide this completely off. Boom, it comes completely off of there. We should have these little pins that are being held in here. Yeah. I'm gonna pull this washer out here. It comes out. This is also replaced with the service kit, so we don't need that anymore. And then these pins should fall right out. Maybe. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe it's just 5, right? No, there's another one in there. Use the little actuator shaft to push that out. Six total. All right, now that those are all out, I'm gonna go ahead and take our rag and kind of clean this out. The bottom as well. All this stuff's gonna get re-lubed whenever we gotta put this back together. There's that. Then also, I believe we replace this as well. So we're gonna be replacing this piece here. Also gets replaced with a service kit, which is like the top hat of the dropper. And then there's kind of another piece, but I think that just stays in there, yeah. So that will stay in there. I'll clean this out again. Cool. All right. So we'll set this aside for now. And then we'll take our main cylinder here, just clean this up a bit. All right, and now comes the fun part, taking this part apart. This is gonna be a bit more involved. Up to this point is basically the service, like the 100-hour service. You would just replace these things we pulled out, like the pins and this top hat and this plastic piece here, and then you'd reuse that rubber washer there, and you'd replace everything else, like the foams and the snap ring. Obviously, you don't want to lose your main snap ring either. You got to reuse this, but that would just all go back together, and that would be your service per se. But we're doing a complete rebuild, so a bit more involved. So now that that's done, this is cleaned up. We're going to go ahead and let all the air out of the dropper post. So I'm going to take my valve adapter kit that I bought, which is basically just a Schrader extender. This valve adapter, that's all that is. And what I'm going to do is, there's a little cap that sits on top of the valve, the Schrader valve. So we got to pull that off too. So I'll take my pliers. This cap is going to be reused, so try not to damage it. Oh, just dropped it. Boom. So this is what that cap looks like. If it will focus. Yeah, so that's what that cap looks like. So we'll set that aside, and then we'll use our adapter, pull the valve up so it doesn't get in the way. And then we're going to screw this in. And then plug our pump in to let the air out. Now these dropper posts are aired up to 250, so I'm gonna make sure we let all the air out of this. I guess I don't have a bleed valve on my air pressure tool, which is interesting. Oh shoot. Well, that just leaked everywhere. That oil that just came out of there. God dang it. Don't do that. There's oil everywhere. What a mess. What a mess, dude. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna pause this real quick and go outside and drain this thing. I'm not trying to drain this off in here. All right, so I'm back. I had to bleed the air out of here outside on the yard because it was shooting oil everywhere. So I've got it fully empty now. No air pressures in there. We're gonna basically undo or unscrew this piece here, which I thought there was a way to do that. Doesn't look like there is. According to their YouTube video, I'm supposed to be able to unscrew this by holding it upside down, and then a wrench fits onto the end of here, but looking at that, that's completely round. There's no way a wrench is going to fit onto that. So I don't know how I'm going to get that off. Oh yeah, okay. I was able to grab it with pliers like that. I got it loose, boys. Let's go. All right. Boom. Boom, got it. So, with some ingenuity there, now this should be able to drain the rest of the oil, if there is oil. All right, guys, so I was able to get that end cap off by clamping it with some pliers. We got an O-ring there. We've got two little O-rings on this end here, and then also pressing from the bottom with a little insertion rod. There's a little O-ring on there too that I believe we need to replace as well. So I'm just cleaning these parts up a bit. And then also, we'll set that aside for now. This part here also I believe comes out. So we're going to take our hammer. Supposed to, I think, fall out, right? Put on loosely. Oh. Boom. Okay. There's that. Some oil came out there. All right, so this piece here is also going to get replaced, I believe. Yep. So we'll pull that off. Oh, dang. We'll pull that off. We'll clean this up a bit here. All this stuff is caked in oil. We'll pull that off. Pull this off here. I believe this piece separates as well. Yep, there we go. Okay. That's completely pull it apart there. There's that. And then here is that's our culprit right there. That O-ring's broken. If you guys, I don't know if you guys can tell, but in there, this O-ring right here is broken. That actually makes me feel really good because that means that's what the problem was. Not the one that's in there is broken. Let me pull it off real quick and show you guys. Nice, let's go. Okay. Come on. Yep, that's exactly what that issue would be. Yep. Look at that, guys. Broken O-ring there. Broken O-ring. That's the culprit. Let's go, dude. Yeah, so that was basically interfering with the seal that this was having. So it was just bleeding air the whole time. All right, and so at this point, we're just going to start replacing O-rings in the kit. All right, everyone, I had to step away for a little bit, but I'm back. We're going to finish this up now. So last I left, we had completely disassembled everything. I just wiped everything down. Again, that O-ring that was in there is the one that was messed up. You can see it's not there right now. We're going to go ahead and replace that. And we're going to replace all the other O-rings as well. So one thing I found off camera while I was kind of going looking at this kit, the kit comes with kind of more O-rings than you need. So not all of these O-rings I think are going to go on your dropper post. So we're going to replace the ones that we for sure know that we need. So I'm going to pull that one out. We don't need that anymore. We need this one for sure. And some of these other ones are going to come out too. I think this is like for this service kit is for 3 different versions of the Revive. I think there's like 3 different iterations of it now. So we're just going to make sure that we apply all the O-rings that we need. So I was just kind of looking at this and kind of noticed that. So just pull some of these O-rings out. So we're going to push this one onto here. Boom. That O-ring is replaced. You can see it there. Replace that one. Make sure it seats. Yep, it seats. Okay, perfect. Then I'm also gonna replace the one on the opposite end. So I'm gonna push that through here, pull this off. Probably won't. Oh, that one just shot off. I have no idea where that just went, but we're gonna replace that one as well. I think this one is a little bit smaller than that other one, so I'm gonna put this one on. Yeah, that's gotta be it. Super small as well. Yep, that's on there. Give it a few kind of pumps there to make sure it seats properly. Okay, and then we're just gonna go ahead and replace all the other O-rings. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball these, make sure that I'm replacing the right ones. I'm using a pick here to get all these old O-rings off. Make sure you're not like stabbing the metal too hard, because you don't, God, I keep shooting these O-rings off everywhere. Okay, This will go on here. Boom, replace that. Pull this one off as well. Okay, put this one on here. There's so many O-rings, make sure I keep track of which ones are old and which ones are new. Okay, so that unit, those O-rings have been replaced. This is good to go. We actually did get a replacement O-ring for this piece here, the very bottom of the dropper. So that's nice to see as well. And the rebuild kit, not the service kit, the rebuild kit. So if you're doing the service kit, remember you have to save this, but since we're doing the rebuild, we got a brand new one to put on there. So that's that. Throw the old one away. Ugh, throw the old one away. There we go. All right, so this is good. The bottom of this is good. I'm also gonna replace this one here, kind of on the cap at the bottom of the cartridge that we had to unscrew with the pliers. We're gonna replace that one as well. So this, yeah, it's this one here. Make sure we get that on. Replace all these O-rings. Oh, by the way, like if you guys are wondering, the rebuild kit, the service kit, and like this oil, and then this little valve adapter, total was like, I think around $50 from the Losco, which is really not bad for a full, basically a full rebuild on the dropper post. So really not bad on that pricing at all. Okay, so that's been replaced. We have to replace these two here as well. So this top one here. This top one here, which I believe is that one, yep. Okay, and then we're gonna replace this plastic. There's a plastic one on there as well we have to replace. So this one as well. This one's already split, so it comes off pretty easily. Which I don't know if that's supposed to be split, but it is. I'm not sure if this new one is split as well. Yeah, the new one is split as well, so that split's supposed to be there. Okay, cool. So we'll throw this on plastic first. Toss that plastic, old one. And then we have our O-ring as well that goes right over the top of that plastic. Like so. Okay, so this piece is all completely good to go. This piece is good to go as well. On this part, lower part of the dropper body, we're gonna replace the pins as well. But for now, I'm gonna throw this new top hat piece on. It has a little spring that goes around it. I'm gonna throw that in for now. The top here. Boom. That sits in there just like that. Just like that. If you guys can see that. Okay. So that's seated in there. That's good to go. All right, now what we have to do, also, this kind of interior piece that goes the upper part of the dropper valve, or upper part of the dropper post. Still oil leaking out of there, by the way. This piece goes into here. There's a replacement grommet that goes in there too. It goes over the top of this. So we'll put that on as well. There we go. Get it to spread out a little bit. Give it some spins there. That's how you know it's on. If it spins, you're gonna make sure it's sitting in both of those grooves, like so. All right, so that's good. And that's, remember, this rubber piece here is towards the bottom of the dropper, so this will go on top, kind of the revive piece of it. This will go in there. Make sure it's sealed. And then we're gonna put this back in here. Make sure this is faced up. Make sure we center this. Make sure it's in there. Okay, that's in there. Now we have to refill the oil, so we have to pull this piece back out, this kind of middle tube, but we want to make sure that we don't pull this bottom part out here. So we're just going to give it a little bit of a push up. Make sure that tube comes all the way out. And it brought that piece back out. So that piece is supposed to sit down in there. We're not supposed to bring that back out. So there we go. Kind of heard it press in there. That's what was supposed to happen. Didn't happen the first time. So I'm going to pull this back out. Let's see if I got it this time. Yep. So came out without the actual reset unit in there. We're just going to make sure that that's seated here at the bottom. So we're going to screw in the valve adapter and just give it a pull. Make sure it's seated in there properly and that those rubber seals are seated in there. All right, so now that that's in there properly, we're going to go ahead and fill it back with oil. So because this is 160 millimeters, you can look this up. This calls for 41.5 cc, which is just milliliters of oil. There's 40. That's probably about 41.5. Okay. So we're going to take that and fill it into here. Hopefully it doesn't leak out the bottom. So far so good, not leaking out the bottom. Oh my God. Why is this syringe so hard to push? All right. There we go. Completely empty. 41.5 milliliters or cc's of oil in there. Press this inner tube back in. So we'll press that back in there. Make sure it's lined up. We're getting a good seal on that there. There we go. Press that in. Okay, and now we press this part in. So they say you're supposed to hold this valve open as you're pressing it in. Which, okay. Kind of press it open there. And then we're going to screw this piece back in here. And that essentially completes the rebuild of this part, and the rest of it, just putting it back together as if you were servicing it and not necessarily rebuilding the whole thing. So let's get that on there tight. Which we should have everything, right? We use everything up there. Yep. Okay. Not missing anything. Okay. Now I'm going to take the rag here, wrap it back around my lower piece there like I did when I removed it. Grab my pliers. Got my pliers there. Grab this piece here. Just screw it in. This is like 4 Newton meters, so it doesn't have to be super tight. Boom. I'll call that good right there. Okay. So that should be completely sealed now. We're done with the oil. So that's there. I will cap the oil off. Put that aside. The syringe aside as well. Okay, now it should be just like as if we were doing a service on it and not necessarily a full rebuild. So again, I've already replaced the O-ring on this piece, and let's finish out the service job on this. Now that this piece is back together, we're going to go ahead and take our lower piece of the dropper here. We're going to grease this up. So I've got some multi-purpose synthetic grease. I don't think there's like a super specific type of grease you're supposed to use. A lot of people use like fork grease for this, but I'm just going to use this multi-purpose grease. It should be fine. Get a little dot there, put it on the inside here, give it a good greasing. Get down in there. They got a brush on the video, and they got like all up inside of this, but I still have some old grease in there, and so I'm hoping with this new grease and that old grease that I shouldn't need a lot more. So I put some in the upper part, and then I'm going to take some, put some in the lower part as well. So kind of here on the inside of this lower part as well. Give it a nice coating of grease. Boom, done. So we're going to push this through here. This through here. And we're going to line up the holes to where we can push those pins in. We're going to take our pins, here, press them in. You might have to rotate the top part of this just to make sure those pins line up. But they should fall in there pretty easily once they're lined up. You guys can kind of see what I'm working with here. Those pins. There's 6 of them total. Just fall in there. Push them in as far as they'll go. And then we're going to take the new cap here that comes with the rebuild. This is going to help press those pins down in place. Now that that's there, got it in there pretty good. We're going to go ahead and put the snap ring on. Use our snap ring pliers here. It's not really snapping in there very well. Gotta go lower. Like a flat head or something. push that down. Boom, snapped it in. Okay, cool. That worked out there. Snap ring is on. See there, it's seated. Perfect. Okay. Now that's on there. Finally. Pull this out a bit. Yeah, so snap ring is on there. We're gonna go ahead and throw this other washer in here. This was seated down right there, kind of floating, hanging out. And then our foam piece as well, hanging out right there. Make sure this is the right, no, this foam piece is the wrong one. Use the right foam piece. Yeah, that's it right there. Came with 2 different foam pieces, so make sure you use the right one. The other one was a little bit too big, I guess, so that's the foam piece there. And that should be it, honestly. And then finally, we're gonna screw in the last piece here that sits right on there. But before we do that, just make sure this is, yep, this is gonna thread in. Before we do that, I'm gonna put some thread locker on it. Cap our grease off, we don't need that no more. I have some thread locker here. This is an off-brand of Loctite Blue. Basically, you want to use blue Loctite on this. Come on, okay, there we go. Blue Loctite. Do a little bit of a drop there. Boom, just like that, not too much. And we're going to screw this back on. I think this is also held in at like 4 Newton meters, so nothing too crazy on that either. So we're going to screw that in. Use our 9/32 again. Make sure it's tight there. Oh man. Okay, that should be good. Not too tight, obviously. I want to scratch it too bad. Okay. It's on there. I'll wipe down real quick. And then finally, press that in there. And then put in our final snap ring. To reconfigure my pliers here. Snap ring, press that together. My pliers there. Boom, snap rings in. You guys can see now the actuator is moving freely. So last step finally is to air the dropper back up. Give it a nice wipe down here. And then we will go ahead and attach our pump and air it up to 250 psi. So let me get my adapter here for the valve. Screw this in here. All right, air it up to 250. 150. 200. All right, 150. All right, air it up, 250. All right, so now for the moment of truth, the whole reason we did all this, see if this will work. So we're gonna actuate this down here. Use my 4mm wrench here. Press it in, close it down. Okay. Boom, it stays. Look at that, guys. It actually stays down. It wasn't doing that before. It would just come up on its own. And then we'll put this down here. We'll hit the actuation. Boom, shoots right back up. Another test, make sure it doesn't move. Oh, man. Yep, it's not moving at all. Yeah, so it was just that top. It was that top O-ring that had broke. That was a reason that it wasn't staying. It was leaking air basically out of the chamber, and that's why it was moving. So give it another actuation here. Drop it down. Boom, it stays. Give it a nice little actuation here. Boom, done. Let's go. Dropper successfully rebuilt and serviced. Can add that to my resume now. All right, guys, and the last thing we're gonna do is just cap off the valve. Use my pliers here. Make sure this cap makes it back on. Make sure this cap makes it back on. Boom, done. That's all she wrote, guys. That cap is back on there, as you can see. See the cap back on there. And then, again, that should be it. Take my 4mm there. Good, nice. Bring it down. Doesn't move at all. Hit it with the cable. Boom, shoots right back up. Let's go, guys. Job done. All right, guys, well, I hope you guys learned something. I definitely did. My first dropper rebuild and service in my pocket. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. As always, please comment, like, subscribe, leave any questions you might have down below. I'm gonna try to link everything that I use to do this. A combination of Harbor Freight tools, stuff from Bike Yoke, and the rebuild kits, some picks, Allen keys, oil, syringe, stuff like that. I'm gonna try to leave all that stuff down in the description so you guys can check it out if you want to do this for yourself. But that's gonna go ahead and do it for this video. Again, please comment, like, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.